Hi, Dr. Doug Brown here with some tips for your writing in week 3 of Business 699, your Capstone project. Not a lot this week. I want to keep you focused. You're kind of in the home stretch now. You've spent a couple of weeks writing. This week, you should be getting ready to submit your first draft, which is due on Sunday. So coming up this week, important for you, writing your first draft and beginning to think about your presentation. Your presentation, I want to talk just a little bit about that. Think of your presentation as the way you will pitch your idea to your target audience. In order to make a presentation, you have to have a target audience. That audience should be as specific as you can come up with. It is a specific individual or a committee that has the ability to say yes to your proposal or to make the investment in your business plan. When you should be really imagining who is that audience, what do they look like, where will they be sitting. Make it as real as you can for yourself, and because your presentation is about talking to those people. It's not about an amorphous PowerPoint to somebody. It's really communicating with power and passion to a group of individuals who have the ability to say yes to your ask. So don't want to get you too far ahead of that, but I noticed a few of you were already starting to ask, so I wanted to give you a little bit of a flavor. You will see materials in week 3 about the PowerPoint and some things to think about. So that's a good start, and we'll talk more about that in week 4 after you submit your first draft. So a couple things to watch out for this week. Some of you have mentioned it already. Number 1, watch out for scope creep. This is where you're doing your research and you have some ideas and you say, well, I'm going to just expand into this area. It won't take too long. And then they find out that you've written pages and pages or spent hours and hours outlining things that didn't really help you with the business plan, might be tangential to the business plan, or wasn't really solving your problem. Good examples would be working with people on business plans who say, I want to franchise. I'm going to spend a lot of time thinking about franchising. Well, unless you've got an established business, an investor is going to want to know that you have customers and that you can establish your business and that you can systemize it in a way that it is scalable. So while you would include something about being able to franchise, they're much more concerned about, do you have an existing business now? An example of a proposal, scope creep, might be getting into things that are not directly related or things that might be in phase 2 or phase 3. But if you don't get phase 1 done, there will never be a phase 2 or phase 3. Watch your time management this week. You're going to find that time accelerates dramatically. Make sure you look at your calendar, get the week view, block out times to get things done, and also make sure you get things done soon enough in the week so that you can let it sit a little bit. Don't try to jam it all into Saturday and Sunday night. I want to talk a little bit about what is finished in a first draft, because this is another kind of a cousin of scope creep. First, when you're writing, there's a rough draft. That's where you just get your words out on paper. Hopefully, you've gotten that in most of your sections so far. Remembering, we're looking for halfway there. Ideally, we don't want to see the first half and nothing in the second half. We'd like to have a balance so we can kind of see where you're going. So once you've got the rough draft in, then you go back and you read, you review, and you edit a few times to get it from a rough draft to a first draft phase. That's what we're looking for. The grammar should be as well. Maybe you'll have some sentences that are longer than you'd like, but the grammar's there, the citations are there. You'll have cut out a lot, but maybe not all of the repetitive text or the transitions that kind of came along with your brain dump when you were doing your rough draft. So be careful about spending too much time over finishing certain sections. A lot of people fall into the trap of writing over and over again in the first couple sections and not getting to the end, or they'll try to get the first 1 or 2 sections perfect and not get to sections later. So try to find some balance there. Try not to get ahead of yourself too much. I know it's anxious. You're anxious to get the presentation done and learning how to do that. Really laser focus on first draft this week. From a discussion board expectations, Not expecting real heavy participation. Do what you need to do, help each other, but make sure whenever you're on the discussion board, allocate a little bit of time, but be asking yourself, is this the best way I can be using my time right now? Remember, the discussion board overall isn't worth that much of your grade. We want you on the discussion board, but I certainly don't want you to be handing in a draft, getting feedback back from your mentor, and then saying, oh gosh, I wish I hadn't spent so much time on discussion boards. So, a couple things going to happen this week. Next week, I guess, when you hand your draft in, it's going to be going to a finance review team who is going to review your work and give feedback to your mentor. Your mentor is going to get it when you hand it in on Sunday. I do ask you, if you hand it in before Sunday, let me know and let your mentor know so we can get a jump start on giving you feedback. Don't feel compelled to do that, though. Use the time wisely now. When you get your grade back on the first draft, and I'll cover this again next week, you will be getting 2 grades. One, a grade which is the actual one against a 50% complete standard, and then you'll be getting one for, as if it was a final. We want to be careful. We understand it's 50% complete. Some people can get very high grades on the first draft. Don't take that as an opportunity to have scope creep to slow down, is what I meant to say. There are other students who don't do very well on their first drafts. Don't worry about that either. It's a first draft. It's not worth that much of your grade. This whole objective is about getting you a proposal that you can take and get a yes to. So, stay focused on your draft. Give a little thought to your presentation. That might help you with your draft. Be careful for scope creep. Watch your time management and block your time out. Be careful about the right level of finishing, and stay on task this week. Make this a very productive week, and we are looking forward to seeing your work at the end of the week. So this is Dr. Doug Brown for Post University. Onward.